Hey everyone, welcome back to Worship Gear Collective, a channel all about the worship musician, American working man, car parts. This isn't a podcast, so I probably should stop talking like that. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Worship Gear Collective. John here with my bro Patrick, the co-host of the show.
How's it going,
We're
everybody?
going through a much anticipated. This is kind of Patrick's video, and I'm interrupting it because I will not be talking a whole ton. But uh, yeah, this is a highly requested video. Actually, it's our first high. I would say honestly, it's our first highly requested video. Um,
Yeah,
Patrick did a playthrough with one of our very first videos. Go check it out. I'll put it in the here somewhere area. And everyone wanted to know his amp tone. He's using an ACS1 by Walrus, and we've had a lot of requests to hear it or see how he makes it. And so we thought it'd be fun to make a patch, kind of like our podcast style videos, kind of
yep,
like our podcast style videos that we are doing and we will continue to do quite a bit of. But yeah, we thought today would be a fun one just to do half podcast, half ACS1 video, and maybe there'll be a secondary video by Patrick just himself with like some no playing or no talking playthrough just to get like a sound clip for people. And so, yeah, man, I think
mm,
that's without further ado,
yeah. All right.
let's go signal chain maybe to start. Just a baseline signal chain so people know what they're hearing.
Sure. So, I'm not going to flip to my board right now because my camera's kind of zoomed in on the AC. Well, not zoomed in, but it's kind of looking at the ACS1, so you won't be able to see everything else. But I plug into essentially my I have a temple board, so I'm using one of those temple modules. So I plug kind of direct into there. That runs into my Jackson Audio Bloom version 2, which is the compressor. And then from there, it goes down to my Greer amps Lightspeed, into my Brown amps Protein, into my JHS Kilt version 2. And then from there, I shoot over to the Lely Mono S volume, running the tuner out of that to my Walrus Audio Canvas tuner. But basically, from the volume pedal, I'm running into the, Walrus Audio Juliana. Man, I'm like starting to forget the names of everything. Walrus Audio Juliana. From there, it goes up to the Eventide H9. H9 goes into the timeline, timeline into the Big Sky, and then the Big Sky into the ACS1. And then right now, currently, I'm running out of the ACS1 to the out patches of my board, and then those are running into a Walrus Audio Canvas stereo. And then from direct there, I'm running into my Volt 476p for my interface.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
If you see my hands rustling, I'm putting my phone on the charger button.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That piece of
So
technology.
that's like my signal chain to start. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of I've had a lot of people ask me what settings I'm running on the ACS1 and stuff like that. So really, I'm not really gonna go over like what settings I've been running. I got a newer guitar and I have a patch semi set up, but I'm gonna start fresh, start completely from scratch, and let's just kind of work one in together, right? And
Yeah.
we'll kind of get it somewhere close to what I would like, and then usually from there I spend another like week and a half fine tuning it. But
He does. If you're wondering if that's a joke, it's not. He'll text me random clips that he records on Logic and go, "Does this sound different?" And I have to frustratingly go, "No, man, still sounds great. You still sound better. It's fine. I don't care."
dude, your stuff sounds great. So
Yeah, okay.
um, that does, man, it does. But
Affirmation seeking card now.
yeah, but no. So you guys have asked quite a bit, so I'm gonna just kind of run through how I would usually dial in a patch. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip to my oh, and just for anybody who's wondering, I'm using my Veritas Riverton. That has Bearcat pickups in it. So for
Big
anybody who
Veritas
cares,
guy.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
This is the first formal video with the Veritas. We haven't even done the Veritas review video yet. And that will be out after this video, but let me tell y'all, he has been so hyped on this guitar.
It's my new number one. It's amazing.
Baby. Una bebe.
So first thing I'll do is when I dial in my amp tone, the first thing I do is I kind of try to turn everything off. So oh, sorry, the big sky's still on.
I would say I might ask you a few questions along the way that I'm gonna try and ask questions I think someone who's maybe new to this would ask. So that way they can just kind of hear your thought process. Because I was actually, for all of you that don't know, Patrick actually helped me build my first legitimate board that I have this year. I've ran a Helix LT, I mentioned it before, forever. And honestly, a lot of the stuff I have, like was because Patrick helped me find it, and you would see similarities on there. Seen the rig videos,
Sorry.
you're fine. Um, and so I'm gonna ask you some questions throughout this. I might mute myself, come back in here and there while you're talking,
Sure.
and just hopefully ask some questions that'll help people that watch this understand how to dial in a little more, make it a little more efficient, ACS1 or not.
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, the way I always start things is I try to turn everything off that is in between my guitar and the amp, right? I usually run compression always on, but I'll still turn that off. Because really, if I like the compressor is just there to um, kind of help me shape things a little bit more. But if I can't get the sound I want with nothing on and just the amp, then it's not really, to me, it's not really worth my time as much, right? It's not really, it's
Yeah.
like I probably shouldn't be using this pedal if I can't get the sound I want to get just with
And
this,
you
right?
dial this in on the bridge pickup the whole time, correct?
Yes, yep. I've always kind of just dialed stuff in on the bridge, and it seems like, maybe I've just gotten lucky, but it seems like everything else is just kind of falling into place where I want it to.
Hmm.
So, all right. So, first thing I usually do, right? So, with all my amp tones and like that, I usually run an AC30 and a deluxe, right? Luckily, the ACS1 has both of those, and you can run them both simultaneously. That's one of the cool things about the ACS1 is that you can run stereo amps. So first thing I'll do is let's just go ahead and dial on the right side. So I'll flip my switch here in the center to the right, and I'm going to go all the way to the right here. I don't know what amp this is. I can't read it, but I just know that the AC30. Can you read that, John?
I can't read it either. It looks like, hang on. Luckily for me, I'm pulling up uh, something
He's
online.
pulling up a picture of my the ACS1.
Yeah, I had the ACS1 for like a day.
Yeah,
I had it for about a week. It's the Dartford on the far right.
Dartford. Okay, so the Dartford would be the AC30. So I flip to the right, and just to keep things simple, I just know the two amps I use are all the way to the left and all the way to the right. So I think it's the Fullerton is all the way to the left.
Yep.
Then the Dartford is the AC30 that's all the way to the right. The London in the middle is a blues breaker. I have used that before for like specific stuff. But yeah. So like I said, right now I'm going to go all the way to the right here on the switch. I'm going to flip this all the way to the right. So we're going to be dialing in the AC30 first. All right. Very first thing I do is, this is going to sound crazy, but I take this volume knob and I turn it pretty much all the way up. When I say pretty much all the way up, I really do mean all the way up.
And why
So,
do you do that?
it's mostly because it's going to help me ensure that the volume of both of the amps are coming through equally. So it's not just like it's not like the volume of the AC30 is higher than the volume of the deluxe.
Mhm.
So I just kind of turn it all the way up there, right? So kind of, here's what that would sound like. This is just an E chord. So that's what that sounds like. So the first thing I want to do is, that's already a little bit bright, which is fine with me. I prefer things on the brighter end. I'm going to go ahead and adjust the bass knob. Okay. So I adjusted the bass a little bit there. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of mids. Okay, that's not too bad. And then I'm going to go ahead and adjust the treble here. I'm just going to add a little bit of treble. Okay, so that's not too bad. So now I'm going to go ahead and adjust the gain knob, right? The gain knob is in the center right here. I'm going to go ahead and adjust that because I like to run my stuff on edge of breakup. Okay, so let's just see what this sounds like all the way, which is going to be very gainy. All right, so let's see. All right, it's actually not bad. Let's see. Oh, that's why. Here we go. That's why. I was wondering. I was like, what the heck's going on? There we go. So that's way too much gain for anything I would need. And that's something like in the latest update they did of the ACS1, they added a lot more gain to it, which is really nice because before, in order for me to get edge of breakup tones, I just had to really it wasn't dialing it in the way I like to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and dial that back a bit. All right, that's not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and roll that back a little bit more, though. What I'm looking for here when I am going for edge of breakup tone is I am looking to where I can play pretty lightly, so I just don't strum as hard. And then if I really dig in, that's where I'm going to get the breakup. Okay. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit more gain to that. Okay. I don't think that sounds bad. I think that sounds pretty decent right there. One of the things I'm going to do, though, too, before I set anything, because I might need to change some of the ways that I do it, or some of the settings that I have, is I'm going to go ahead and switch between the cabs and kind of hear what I, see what I can find that I like. So that's the bass cab. Here's B. So immediately there, that one has a little bit more bass. I can hear that. And then here's C. Oh, sorry, that was C. Here's B. And then A.
Now,
What's that?
are you looking for less or more bass in your cab?
Uh, so it depends, right? So on the AC30, I want less. On the AC30, I want that jangle, right?
Yeah.
So, because my Fender is going to be doing a lot of the work in the bass end. So the C has a little bit too much bass for me. B's not too bad. I like B. A's all right, but so the nice thing with the ACS1 too is if you hold down the bypass switch and then you flip cabs, I'm going to go to cab C. This is the second row of cabs that they have. Okay. Now I'm going to hold down the bypass switch and go back to B. That's all right. Let's hear A.
So I just pulled up the manual to see what the cabs were. C on both back cabs are Vox, B are
Yep.
Blue Breaker, and A are Fenders.
Yep. Let's see. I'm going to go back to C. Yeah, even though that is one of the Vox cabs, it just sounds a little too bassy to me. So does that. That's the first one. I think maybe I like
57, and the second one's with a Royer 121.
Yeah. I actually really like the second, so that would be the Marshall B cab. I really like that one, I think. I think that would be what I'm going to go with. It's got enough body for me, but it's also got the treble that I like in my AC30. So, all right, and I actually think that doesn't sound too bad. Let me just see if there's anything I want to change before I switch. I think that sounds all right off the bat. So now I'm going to go over to the left side. So I just hit my left switch here. And I'm going to go all the way over to the left here because I just know that's the Fullerton. So that's the one I'm looking for. All right, and let's go ahead and just start with that one. First thing I'm going to do, peg that volume like I said. Okay.
Did you turn the volume to the Vox before you went over to the Fullerton?
What's that?
Did you turn on the volume to the Vox before you went over?
No, I didn't. I should go ahead and do that though. So switching back all the way to the right. Volume all the way down. Back to the left. Volume all the way up. All right. So I immediately want to kind of pull some of the treble back there. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more bass because I want my Fenders to carry a little bit of bass. I don't want it enough to where it's like flubby and muddy, but that's not too bad. I'm gonna push the mids just a tiny bit. That's all right. And then I kind of want to cut the treble just a little bit. I don't want it to be as trebly. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit more. Okay, that's not too bad. Let's go ahead and I'm going to adjust the gain now. Let's see it all the way up on this. So I don't want that, obviously. I want a little bit more than that, though. Maybe just a touch more. I think that sounds all right. So let's go ahead and just take a look at the cab. So here is the actual Fender cab, A side. All right. Here's the B. Okay. All right, let's try the A on the B side. Oh, yeah. I don't even need to hear the other ones. I want that
Now
one.
that is the winner easily.
Yep. So
Okay,
that would
so
be
now you
the
have
Fender cab on the B side.
the 121 mic.
Yep.
So now that you've made the two separate, what's the next step? Is it you're gonna bring both of them to full volume and start what's your next step in your thought process?
So the next step I'm going to do first is I want to adjust the room knob here. That's like a little bit of room. It's essentially room reverb in a sense, but basically what it is, it's like adjusting the distance
of the mics, right?
Yeah, of the mics between the cabs. So I just want to kind of add a little bit of distance in there, right?
Just make it feel not so sterile.
Yeah. All right. Touch more. That's not too bad. Let's hear it cranked, and then we'll. So lots there. So we don't want it that much. Let's try that. I think it's just a tad too much. So just back a little bit. There we go. Yeah. I think that's good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to the right side.
Are you going to turn down the other amp first?
Yeah, let's go ahead and turn that down. Let's go all the way to the right. Should have done this before, but it's fine.
Okay.
And honestly, I'm hearing a little bit more that I want to go ahead and add a little bit more treble to that.
You know what's funny is that's like flipped in my ears in my headphones.
Yeah, it is.
Right side is left. It's very confusing.
Yeah. I think I might just have the things on the other side. Just a touch more treble. I think when I started, I had the Fender in my ears a little bit too. Yeah, that's better. And I want a little bit more gain too. All right,
let's gain.
Touch less. Touch less.
Like 1230.
Touch more. Touch more. Touch more. All right. That's better. All right. So now let's go ahead and adjust the room on that. So here's no room. So very sterile sound. And let's go ahead and crank that. Very big room sound. So let's try right there. Touch less. Yeah, so what I'm looking for in that room reverb is I just want it to be there a little bit, right? Like I just want it to like I don't want it to sound super sterile,
Yeah.
but I don't want it to sound washed in reverb. So that's not what it's there for. All right, so that's pretty good. So I'm going to go back to the Fender, turn that all the way up. Okay, back center, and let's just hear them both together. All right.
Back to you playing that Veritas.
Oh, yeah. Let's see here.
I think these little tweaks at this point. Let's watch you play guitar while you tweak it.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
So I got plenty of break up there, but I also have enough where I could just literally just start picking a little bit lighter. So if I pick lighter, I don't have as much breakup or like that, or really any.
Yeah.
And then if I just really start digging in there, it breaks up on its own. So the next thing I do is I kind of work on my compressor, so I'll turn that on. Which, there, if you can hear it. Huh?
I'm happy with it.
Yeah. And it adds quite a bit more sustain. And it's gives me a good push in volume there. Adds a lot more body to the sound. Okay. And then let's go ahead and turn my delay and reverb back on.
Yeah. I want you to put that blues breaker on.
Which, it just sounds slightly too gainy to me.
Yeah, it's a little gainy.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adjust the gain of both of them by moving the switch to the middle here, the middle position.
Oh, that'll do both?
Yep, and it'll work on both. Actually, no, let's just go ahead and do it individually because that's going to defeat the purpose. So let's go ahead and roll back. We're going to go back to the Fender here, okay? And we're going to go ahead and roll that gain off a little bit. Alright, that's not too bad. Let's go back to the Vox.
And then how do you save ACS1?
What's that?
How do you save your profile in the ACS?
Oh, yeah, I'll show you that too. 1 second. Add a little bit more.
Oh, that's perfect. pick pretty hard, or are you pretty light picker when you play?
What's that?
You play like pretty hard? Like, do you dig in a lot, or do you like even like would you say your heaviest picking? Would you say it's still pretty light overall, or like are you
I find myself digging in a good bit.
digging in?
Yeah. All right. I'm happy with that actually.
Great.
So okay. So that's what I would call my tone there. So to save that, what I do is you literally just hold down both buttons at the same time.
It'll blink, right?
And it'll blink. They both blink purple, and then this one turns red.
Oh,
And then, usually my drive should be pretty close to where I want them to be. So here's like my first stage drive, which is the light speed. And then here's my blues breaker. Nobles. And then kilt.
I'm gonna make it
So, yeah.
meme for me, by the way.
What's that?
This song, since we've talked about it, had become a little bit of a meme for me.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, and then like I said, I just double check everything, so I'll stack my stuff. So So I'll stack my stuff like that,
I run you
and
through
then
scenarios how you'd maybe signal flow to hear the amps.
say that again.
I have a couple. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I have a couple of scenarios I would love to hear some playthrough for, and then also like it's also primer for ideas for like the no talk video that we'll
Hmm.
do later. Um, so I have three like or four like tones I'd love to hear from you. So
Okay.
the first being just like your clean whatever sound, like the clean sound you have to use just to play a clean part. The second would be your rhythm tone. The
Okay.
third would be your lead tone, and then your fourth. So I've done this a handful of times. I'm sure you've done it before, and I'm sure a lot of people that maybe are watching this for the 10% of people that have to watch that they want to watch this because it's useful for them. The 1% of the 10%.
Yeah.
I have to. I know at my last church I worked at, I would have to go out and pad and play underneath. Like we didn't have a keys player,
Yeah.
and so I had this big ambient patch I had to use to kind of fill the space for those like moments, like the host moment before the last song, the encounter moment. I'd love to hear those four sounds from you, like what you would probably do for those situations.
Sure. So I spend 99, and you're still frozen, and that thumbs up is there, and you're frozen. There you
I
are. Okay. I spend 90 to 99% of my time on the bridge pickup, right? Even for like rhythm stuff, man. Like I just, like to me when I'm thinking of like rhythm, like I'm playing like really big fat chords,
Yeah.
right? So when I think of like a fat chord, like the blues breaker in the protein, just right. So
Like the
so
rhythm.
what's that?
Which tone would you call that out of the four? Like your rhythm tone, your lead tone.
So here's a lot of my tones kind of cross over each other, right? So
Yeah.
like they really do. So like you know, like it really what changes is how I'm playing and what I'm playing, not necessarily like the drives that I'm using, right? So
Yeah.
like my protein, I'll use it for big leads or I'll use it for big rhythm parts, like just huge chords, right? So if I really want like a big lead, like So, or if I really want more like treble than that, that's kind of what I use my light speed for. If I really want to kind of poke out just a little bit more,
Yeah.
it's got just a touch more treble in it. So it's like so. Um, really, like what changes is like kind of like how I'm digging in,
Yeah.
like how my hand manipulates, like like the tones I'm trying to get right. So like if I'm playing something like a bit softer, like for like I'm just gonna switch to the middle pickup. Right? So, or like,
Thing is, talked about this
so,
in other like videos we've done together like this. You and I have such a different approach at like certain aspects of this. Like, I think you have a lot of, and this is a compliment. I hope it comes out that way. Like, you're really good at your dynamics with like your hands and like
oh,
playing,
yeah,
and like where I tend to, and this might just be because we had different like the last 7 years we've had very different guitar playing with the Helix versus the pedals and everything pre-programmed to one button, stuff like that, snapshots, like whatever. I think something that I don't do well is I've gotten better at it over the year, especially working at a church, being a music director, working in this all these contract jobs and stuff like this, like playing for the churches. Like I'm learning how to play dynamically more with my hands, but like I still would say I rely on pedals quite a bit. Like I just get enjoyment out of like going like, oh, I'm gonna play this the same 30% like aggressiveness on my hand the whole way through, and I'm gonna let my pedals carry that dynamic.
yeah,
Where I think you tend to do the other of like, no, here's my sound, and I'm gonna make it do the thing it needs to do with the edge of
yeah. Because
aspect.
like I think like the biggest thing for me, and what's kind of how I've kind of built my tone off of is like even like overdrives, right?
Mhm.
I have maybe like like one of them is kind of set to color my amp, right? The other ones are set to like when I hear like the light speed's like a great example, right? So it's like this quote unquote transparent, right? So like here's just a clean sound. So that's just me breaking up my amp just with my hand. But if I want to add a little, it's like the light speed is nice because it gives me more of that sound, but it's just more of my amp. It's not more of a different sound. So like here's clean again. So the light speed, hopefully you could hear it pretty well in that. The light speed just it still sounds like my amps. It doesn't sound like
The light speed on top of your amps.
yeah, it sounds like just a little bit more of my amps. And even with like my protein, like the blues breaker, right? So there's still a little bit of like character of that blues breaker there, but like you can still hear my amps in it. And then like the ODR one, it starts to get a little bit more out of that territory. So you can still hear a little bit of it in there, but once I kind of throw them on top of each other, this is why I say like I kind of have two drives that are more coloring. So like these two together, right, are a little bit. So like you start to.
Go ahead. Go ahead first.
I was just gonna say, so like you start to lose a little bit more and more of the amp as you kind of climb into that, but like a lot of my sounds, like a lot of like I try to keep it as close to my amps as possible. So that's why I like edge of breakup stuff is because like I can. So I didn't have a drive pedal on at all there. It was just me adjusting how I'm picking and stuff like that.
So then I think I'm gonna actually, this is my part two to tune into our next video that'll come out within the next day or two of this coming out of the no like the silent playthrough video. I think if I could put you on the spot, I
Yeah,
think a song that has a lot of dynamics and would really showcase what we're talking about now, because we've kind of turned away from the ACS1, kind of getting into like playing theory right now.
sure.
You're familiar with the song Son of Suffering from Bethel?
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
I would love to, this will probably come out at the end of January, is my guess. Mid to end January. I would love to hear you play Son of Suffering with this whole theory and context, because that song has a lot of really light, airy dynamics. And then the bridge, it's like it goes, "Glory to God in heaven,
Yeah,
your power." But it had huge hits in the bridge, like the last chorus and the bridges, and
right.
it's gigantic, and then it drops, and it's super like Hislop and Jonathan Young. I think that, right, that's his name. The other
Jonathan Lee.
Jonathan Lee, thank you.
Yep.
Those two did a fantastic job writing complex, like really dynamic parts. And I think your style, I think you would absolutely obliterate that song with the way you tend to like use your techniques and stuff.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
So I would
I
love to hear you and then have you all tune into the part two video of this for that song to hear you play with this setup, with this thing you just did, and do that.
yeah. And yeah, but yeah, just to kind of I guess wrap it up here because we are using the free Zoom recording.
I was trying to not say it.
Yeah. So just to kind of move it into wrapping up here, a lot of you guys asked for how I dial in my ACS1. That's how I do it. Like I said, honestly, just to be real with you, this is about 70% where I want it, maybe 80%, right? I usually spend another like week or two getting it that extra, 15 to 20%. And
Yeah.
it's just because like I just like to sit down and take time to like nitpick my stuff. Like it's like it's not quite this, it's not quite there. Like I want to do it this way, so like I'll usually spend that like extra time doing it. But like like I said, a lot of you guys asked like this is how I do it. So and I just take a little bit more time to do it than this, but this is just how I do it. So this is like the settings that I run. I showed you guys what cabs I'm using. That's not a guarantee that I've used on every single preset that you've heard. This was a fresh one from scratch. I just kind of go with what sounds the best to me at that time, you know. So and tonight those two cabs that I picked sounded the best to me. So
Yes, sir. Well, hey, until then, stay tuned for our second video of this whole video, the kind of summary where he plays Son of Suffering, and I've just challenged him to. I think that would actually be a fun way to do these videos, is to challenge each other to a song we might not be familiar with or haven't played in a while. Eventually, when people, if y'all have a comment below, let us know, and we'll make that like our next suggestion, and we'll even like throw it up on the screen, like a screenshot of like the name and suggestion. But Patrick, they can find you at Sir Dole, correct? Still, you're not Veritas Man 295.
not yet.
Not yet.
Well,
Still
not
Johnny
yet.
Troll for myself. Worship Gear Co. on Instagram for all those names. Hit the like, comment, subscribe, the bell for more notifications, all those things, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.
See ya.